1, 0.
Jai Shri Krishna, welcome back. Today we're talking about political correctness and why I don't really like it. My name's Premanand Das Bhagat. I'm a certified spiritual life coach, working to do what I can to help you grow spiritually. I want you to grow spiritually. I want everybody to grow spiritually. I want you to also find your life's purpose, if nothing else. Just know what you're meant to do on this earth. And also, find the big guy in the sky. Or this one over here. That's what I want. If you like what I do here, help me out by looking at my website down below. I'm an author. A lot of my stuff is music, but I'm going to tell you right now, I actually have 2 Sanatana Dharma books that I'm working on. One on the law of attraction, not what you think, so don't pass judgment until it's out. And the other is a study guide to the Bhagavad Gita that I haven't seen out there, that I think is needed. So you can find that in the future, and books that I currently have on the link down below. Right now, let's talk about political correctness, because I don't like it. And you see, when it comes to growing spiritually, I feel like there's kind of 3 things we do. One is to add things to our life. For example, we read scriptures, we start meditating, we do Tai Chi, whatever. The other way is to remove things from our life. We stop watching 3 hours of porn a day. And yes, I know people who do that, so I laugh at that, but I actually know some sad people who do that. The other thing we can do is to just become more aware of the world, and not to just accept things on face value, to just go, oh yes, okay, but to start looking and perceiving and being aware. Trust me, if you're not aware, you're not growing spiritually. Seriously not growing spiritually. And there's a lot of people out there who want you to be their spiritual student, but they're really not that aware of things and themselves. So that is the first, floor step that a lot of people just skip over. And this year, 2024, we're going to be doing a lot of videos on just being aware and just waking up more than anything else. So, one thing you can be aware of is political correctness. Political correctness is a movement that started when I was, high school? 90s? I don't remember it being talked about before. Previous to that, people did whatever they wanted. Society was a little rough around the edges. And then a movement started where folks were like, instead of saying that, maybe it would be better if you just, said something else. For example, instead of calling someone an Eskimo, why don't you call them an Inuit? Because Inuit is the word from their language. Okay, yeah, sure, whatever. I didn't know that. Sure, okay, I would call you. Never met one, but yeah. That's kind of the way society was. Just on a side note. No, never mind. I was going to talk about Bharat in India. We should bring India back to the name Bharat, but that's for another episode. Everything else is reverting back, but India is still India. Okay, I'm going to get distracted here. Then the political correctness movement came up, where now it wasn't just saying, hey, don't do that or do this. It's now kind of a movement where you should become politically correct to not insult people. Don't say to someone, Merry Christmas. They may not be Christian. They may not celebrate it. Instead, say, Happy Holidays. It's kind of generic. You can take what from it what you want. And that was kind of what happened, because we didn't really want to insult people. And I feel like growing up, if you did insult somebody, it was sort of a thing of, oh, I'm insulted, but okay, now you know. Don't wish me Merry Christmas because I'm Jewish. And, we're going to go on our business. We're fine with that. But, everything gets taken out of proportion. And some people lead very sad lives and need meaning to their lives, so they became PC police. They made sure you said the right thing to not insult anybody, even if nobody else was hearing the conversation other than the two of you, which means no one's going to be insulted. Didn't matter, though. It was the hypothetical, exponential, existential insult that could be caused by your words going into the air. I guess a demigod would hear your word and send it down to somebody on the other side of the planet. Doesn't make any sense, but some people just need lives. And telling people what to do gives their life meaning. So the PC police, I found growing up to be a little difficult. They would literally, the ones I knew, and I knew a bunch. I grew up in a very liberal city in Washington State, north of Seattle. Very liberal. And, ones I knew would literally kill conversations if something bad was said, or might be said, and make it difficult to talk, because you couldn't say the word you needed to say. Well, don't read that article because it talks about slavery. Yeah, I want to talk about, but slavery's offensive. Yeah, but how am I going to talk about it if I can't read the article? Well, just don't talk about it. So you don't want me to talk about slavery? But how are we going to then talk about the Civil War? Oh, just don't. It becomes impossible to communicate. And I have zero tolerance for this. As a writer, I believe in free speech and free writing, because when you start putting these restrictions on people, it starts limiting what you can say and what you can do, and then it just doesn't go in good places. One of those places is where we're at today, with woke progressive censorship, Big Brother. And yes, they do censor. It's not the Christians, it's not the conservatives. Woke progressives love censoring because they are the children of the PC movement. Think about it. PC movement. Don't say this, you might offend somebody. Now it's, don't even speak. Don't write, don't do anything, because I'm already offended and you haven't even spoken. What was it? Interview with, or not an interview, some video I saw with, I don't know, Charlie Kirk or Matt Walsh or somebody, and, or Peter Boghossian, I think it was, now that I think about it. He was going to be scheduled at a talk, and people were protesting what he was going to talk about. So he went outside, or maybe it wasn't, maybe it was Crowder. I don't know, it was one of these guys. So they went outside, and they walked into the group of protesters and said, what are you protesting? Well, what's going to be said by, I'll just say Crowder. What's going to be said by Crowder? Oh, and what is going to be said, Crowder asks. And they go, well, we don't know. But it's already offensive to us. And it's like, you're already offended. What if he talks about origami? Oh, well, he's going to say things about LGBT. How do you know? That's not what the talk is supposed to be about. Why would he talk about random things? I do, but if you're in a formal talk, you don't necessarily do that. You keep to a script you may have prepared, but they're already offended. The funny thing about this video is they actually didn't know who they were talking to, so they were offended by a person who they hadn't seen, who was talking to them, and they didn't know it. That's sad. You're really sad when you're offended by someone you don't even recognize them standing in front of you, talking to you. But that's the state we're in, and now people are so offended already by just you thinking of something, or they tell you, well, you're probably thinking about this and I'm already offended by this, because we can now read minds, that they will cancel you. Because you see, words kill. We have discovered that. Saying words kills people. How many people die every day from words? Well, according to some people in the blogosphere, a lot. Media doesn't report it, you can't count it, but supposedly words kill people. That's PC in the modern world, is it not? Haven't we just taken something and the next generation has developed it into their own, because that's what happens. Everything gets developed out, kind of like the beatniks were picked up by the next generation, who turned it into flower power, and then the 70s. Everything gets, developed, and so we're just now in the second generation of PC political correctness. And people still don't have hobbies, and still are now woke police. But now you've destroyed someone's life for not saying the right thing, and for being offensive even when they actually haven't said anything. It's now insane. Well, where does this go next? It goes into communism. Because they were the epitome of political correctness. Not just was your life destroyed, but your family's life was destroyed, and we mean that literally. It was destroyed. They were the PC police for decades. And that's where this is going. Forced speech. And it will destroy us. It destroys creativity, it destroys thinking, it destroys art, it destroys all great things. And if you do not believe me, ask a stranger on the street who is Maxim Gorky. And when was the last time you read one of his novels? Probably no one will remember him. And if you do find someone who knows him, they'll probably say, never? Because Maxim Gorky, you see, was the state-approved writer of the Soviet Union. He wrote the agenda, he wrote the narrative, he wrote the doublespeak, he wrote novels that epitomized this pre-woke Soviet Union life, and how everyone is happy in a communist country, and nobody reads his stuff today because it's garbage. It's just propaganda garbage. That's what happens. And that's where we're going. But that's okay, because the folks in Davos and the New World Order, they want that because they can control us better. So all these PC people, if they only knew, well, they do. They're now older, and they're now woke police. They are literally leading us to communism and control by big people who want to control us. They're literally leading us to the slaughter. Anyways, this is not an opinion that I developed over the last few years with Donald Trump. This is an opinion that I've had for many years. And before this show gets too long, I want to give two stories. And that's it. I just want to tell these two stories of things that actually happened in my life, seeing PC culture and just going, oh, mind blown. Wow. Okay. I got it. I see it. So the first story takes place about 2007, 2008. I forget dates now. I had just moved to New York, and I was working in a little Xerox type place, a little independent copy center, and it had been in business since the 1970s, owned by this woman named Ava. That was her nickname. Her real name was Chava, Chava, and she was born in Israel in 1949, the year after Israel became a state. A country. She is part of the first generation of children born in Israel. And maybe I have the years wrong, but whatever year it became a country, she was born the next year. I basically picture her parents, who I believe were from Romania, coming down and going, yeah, we're so happy to be here, and banging. And she's part of the first generation of very happy Jews. She was an Orthodox Hasidic woman who wore a wig, wore skirts. Her son had the black everything, the beard, he didn't shave, whatever. She was a darling woman. I absolutely loved working with her. I quit, and it made me feel so bad. It wasn't because of her, it was because I didn't get paid much. And I had a coworker who I just didn't like. And I felt bad, because Eva was an amazing woman. She was so great to work with, and if it had only been the two of us, I might have kept going a little bit longer, even though I was financially strapped. Yeah, it's not her fault. She did what she could. We were struggling, and the business was kept open just to keep her going, because she was now well beyond retirement age, and it gave her something to do. Anyways, she was a Hasidic Orthodox woman. This business was run in a Orthodox manner. So I worked on Friday, because she had to be home preparing for the Shabbos, but I was allowed to work Yet I had to close by the time the first 2 stars came up. Whether that was 2 o'clock or 5 o'clock, it didn't matter. I had to close. She did tell me once that my computer was down. She goes, you can come in on Saturday if you want, but you have to close the door. One time a previous employee had come in and left the gate open, and the door was locked, but the gate was up. And the Jewish Theological Seminary, a block down the street, saw that and complained to her. What the heck are you doing? The gate is open on the Shabbos and whatever. So just, keep it down low. When you walked in, we had signs. So we speak Hebrew. We had, Jewish greeting cards. It's New York. You might have that anyways. But on the back wall, so you walked in and there was a counter here and we worked behind the counter. And then, so when you walked in, you can see the back wall was all pictures of Jerusalem. That was it. It was just all over the place. It was beautiful. And I loved it. And the doors, we had 3 of them, had mezuzahs on them. It was very obvious that we recognize the Jewish faith and practice this in this business. And anyone who worked in this business honored this. Okay? It was very odd. I could go into other things that we had around us that would give away that this was a Jewish-run business. Okay, you got the picture? So, one time, it was around Christmas time, these 2 women were in. I just remember one was black, one was white. The black woman, she was really nice, but she was in a huff. She needed something done. It was last minute. She didn't know what to do. She was in a panic. She was so worried. She came into us. I need a bunch of copies, yada, yada, yada. Ava and myself said, oh, sure, no big deal. We looked at it, it was like, oh, yeah, this is easy. This is fine. Yeah, it's not even that expensive. We helped her out. Done. 10 minutes later. She was very chatty. We had a good time. The woman was so thankful. I just remember her just being like, oh my God, thank you so much, almost in tears, sort of thing. It was just one of those moments. And we didn't really do much, but we helped her. And you know what she said to us? Thank you so much. Merry Christmas. I hope you have a good Christmas. Oh, thank you, we both said, and she walked out. Then the white woman came up, and she did her order, or we'd already started to help her, I don't remember exactly, and we did her order. She was the only one in there, and at the end of the order, she's paying, and she says to us, I'm so sorry. Huh? What's happening? She goes, I really want to apologize for the woman who was in here before me. Excuse me? What's going on? Ava's behind me, and I'm looking at her going, what? She goes, she was so offensive to you, wishing you a Merry Christmas, when obviously you don't celebrate Christmas. That is so insulting that some people are just... And I just remember her going on and on and on about this woman wishing us a Merry Christmas and how offensive it was to us, to the point where she was just blah, walking out the door, and you could see her face go red and the smoke coming out of her ears, and she just got so agitated. Oh my God, we had been wished a Merry Christmas. What? The world was over. And she left. And Ava and I stood there, and we kind of looked at each other. And Ava, again, lovely woman, she says to me, she goes, Aaron, the woman who wished us Merry Christmas, she was so nice. Yes, she was. I really hope, Ava said, I really hope she has a nice Christmas. That was so nice for her to wish us that, a good holidays. I hope she has one too. And I looked at Ava and I went, yeah, I do too. And then Ava said, she says to me, oh, but that other woman, she needs help. What was her problem? And I just sort of went, yep. That's my story. So here we have a Jewish Hasidic woman from Israel, Orthodox as she had family in Brooklyn that spoke Yiddish as their first language. She was not offended by someone wishing her a Merry Christmas, but a white woman was. Excuse me? That white woman was our PC police person right there, dictating to us that we needed to be offended. We needed to be offended. Excuse me? Really? Why? The woman was nice. Who cares if she wished us the wrong holiday? Ava understood it was the essence that mattered, not the words. She was nice. The other woman was having a little breakdown. And it was like quite a breakdown. I remember that's why this memory stuck in my head. I don't know, we were going to have to call 911 on her because she was so offended. That's what PC culture is for me. Useless. That story was kind of long, so I'm going to do one more and it's a little shorter. Go back in time to 2002. I had just moved to Budapest, Hungary. I was living off of Andrassy, and I worked at an English school about a mile away. So, right in the hub of Budapest. And I just got in this job, and the owner of the school, Tower Angol Neleviscola, Tower English Language School. It was just really small. It was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 classrooms. We did adult English. The owner was this woman. I do not remember her name. She was nice. She had studied in England for a while, so her English was actually pretty good. Her husband was Hungarian. He didn't speak much English, but him and I would pal around because we were the only 2 guys in the school. And she always had, from what I can figure, 1 foreigner. There just really wasn't enough work for more than 1, and so I would split a class with another teacher. So a Hungarian teacher, she's some really awesome lady, because all the women who worked there were awesome. I wanted to date all of them. I'll just say that now. They would teach Tuesday, and then I would teach Thursday. Anyways, I was prepping for class early on. I was sitting there in the lobby, which I did a lot, and Emma Shea, I think her name is Emma Shea, she says to me, Aaron, can I ask you a question about America? I said, yeah, sure. She goes, I haven't had an American here in a long time, and I have a question for you. Sure. And she goes, would you explain something to me? Yeah? I have no idea what she's about to ask, and I'm really worried. She goes, will you explain political correctness to me? I said something like, well, what do you want to know about it? And she goes, well, in Hungary, we know you have political correctness in America, but we don't understand it. I said, okay, well, what do you not specifically, what do you not understand? And she goes, and I will never forget this, what's the punchline? That's exactly what she said. She goes, we know it's a joke, but we don't get the punchline. And I just stood there. Wake up call. I've seen God. Heaven has descended. I was literally in a moment of, oh my God. And then she started talking about Hungary. Hungary being under the USSR. And recall what I said earlier in this episode. They had that in Hungary. And the reverberations of that still were in the country long after the fact. And I remember her saying, I don't remember what she got into, but she was talking a lot about Hungarian history, which I would end up reading a lot about. But I remember her laughing and going, we have more freedom here than you do in the land of the free. Was she wrong? What was I going to say to her? Oh, no. You've not experienced true communism, so you don't quite understand what real communism is like, which is what people say today. Really stupid people say that. No, I wasn't going to say that because she was 100% right. What's the punchline? That irrevocably, along with what I had experienced from people interrupting conversations and ruining my life because they have to make sure I say everything correct so somebody who's not there won't be offended, that literally clinched everything for me. So I have told these 2 stories to many people over the years, and I thought of them over the Christmas holidays, and I'm recording this at the end of January, and I just was like, you know what? Let's tell them to everyone. They're not explicitly religious, but they're just good stories, and I think they just summarize something so well. I just want to share them and put them out in the world. You are free to share them with others or share this video, and you comment down below. That is it. That is all I'm going to say today. It's just those 2 little stories and my view of political correctness, which I think is at the end of the day, anything that is censorship is bad. But what makes it really bad, honestly, is it is bad for religious folk like us, because we are always the first targets. Think about it. Every society always goes after the religious folks. Christians, Jews, who's next? So be aware, be very aware of what the world's doing. And with that, I'm just going to say thank you again for watching. Please subscribe, like, comment. I get a lot of comments, so honestly, I don't really respond to a lot of them. I just don't have time. You can check out this channel on other avenues. If you go to the description down below, you'll see that this goes out all over the internet in lots of different places. So if you don't like YouTube, that's okay. Feel free to write me a personal email if you would like. I will do my best to respond to you. And yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Thank you very much for joining me. Find me in 2 weeks from now when I will be doing an episode on some quotes that predict the Kali Yuga. And these quotes are from scripture, and they tell us exactly where we are today. And I came across them recently. I'm like, oh boy, wow, Sanatana Dharma is right. So come back in 2 weeks, check that out. And until then, God bless. Jai Shri Krishna.